So fathers' rights do exist in Alabama. Now, that's not what the statute or the Alabama code is going to call it. We talk about things in general terms like parents' rights. But if we're going to have parents' rights and parents' rights are going to be equal, then we have to create a space in our minds and in our strategy and in the theme of the case, our presentation, our litigation process to establish fathers' rights. Because parents can't have equal rights until we have a meaningful discussion about fathers' rights. And here in Alabama, if we, as advisors and advocates for our clients here at Foxtrot Family Law, if we pretend that there isn't a history and a dynamic where mothers might have an advantage in a child custody case, then we are doing a disservice to our clients, and we're living in a dream world where the last 250 years of American history and law don't exist. So we don't consider ourselves fathers' rights attorneys, but we do focus on and understand and meet the challenges of our history, our culture, the dynamics in Alabama, where it can feel like to a father that the cards are stacked against us, like as a father, or that we're starting off the case behind the eight ball. So we approach the case from a realistic perspective for a father when we represent fathers. We're not going to pretend that everything's fine and parents are equal, and treated as such in reality. We have to approach a case in child custody for a father a certain way. And we've got to confront the reality and the challenges and the opportunities in that situation. Well, what's the opportunity for a father? Stephen, let's talk about that. And frankly, this is kind of unfair to mothers. If you're having a conversation at the grocery store, at church, or at book club, and you hear about a mother who the father got sole physical custody, it's gonna be like, what the hell's wrong with her, right? I mean, like something's got to be going on if dad got sole physical custody. But if we're having that same discussion in that same situation and mom's got sole physical custody subject to father's visitation, oh, okay, that's normal. So that stigma can actually play in reverse, and that's not fair to either parent. But here's what that creates as far as an opportunity. If a father is doing the same things that we maybe in society, at least stereotypically, would consider the mother to be doing, going to the PTA meetings, attending doctor's appointments, any other activity we might typically or stereotypically associate with a mother, that's going to make the father look that much better. Because frankly, the bar is set a lot lower. That's real. We don't live in a dream world at Foxtrot Family Law where everybody has to get along. We don't live in a dream world where mothers and fathers are considered and starting off in the same place in a child custody case. We're dealing with the reality. And the reality is there are challenges that fathers face in child custody cases, but there are also opportunities that they have to get a lot more credit, and that's going to take you a long way as a father in your child custody case. Just dot your I's, cross your T's, be present at the PTA meetings, be involved in not just the fun stuff, the softball games and the school plays, but the nitty-gritty administrative logistical support operations for your children. That's going to make you look like a rock star in your child custody case as a father. As a father in a child custody case here in Alabama, we've discussed how there are challenges. We've discussed how there are opportunities. So building a strong case as a father it starts frankly with something we call trivia. not like Jeopardy or something like that, but trivia in the literal sense, knowing these trivial factoids about you, your family, and your child's life. I'm just telling you guys, in my experience, doing this for as long as I've been doing it, I can ask a mother, what's your kid's birthday? Bam, like lightning. Hey dad, what's kiddo's birthday? Listen, it may sound trite, but your strategy as a father in building your child custody case, learn these trivial things. What's kiddo's teacher's name? Bad answer. What's kid's pediatrician's name? Terrible answer. This is sit down for 15 minutes. Make a spreadsheet or like an index card with all of these trivial things. I'm not kidding. Rattling this stuff off is going to pay off huge as you're going through contested child custody litigation as a father. We've already talked about how the bar is set kind of lower for fathers. Again, we wouldn't be real if we didn't acknowledge that. So if a mother doesn't know these things, it's going to look really bad. If a father doesn't know these things, you know, it's a missed opportunity. It may not look as bad, but it's a missed opportunity to really knock it out of the park because the bar is already set so low. But here's where we have to take it to the next level, because this is something I've dealt with in my experience, helping fathers stand up for their kids, helping fathers stand up for themselves in child custody cases. Fathers tend to be, in my experience, a little less willing to compromise their work schedule. Fathers tend to be less willing to compromise where they work. And so if we really want to build a effective winning strategy for a father in a child custody case, hey, maybe you need to get moved from second or third shift to first shift, even if you're making less money, so that your work schedule can coincide with your kid's school schedule. And that's going to give you an opportunity to be more present and provide more logistical support and involvement in that child's life. So you're going to have to make compromises or be willing to, or at least consider them. If you're working an hour and a half out of town and it's a great gig, but you've got to leave the house at 6:30 in the morning to be at work. Fathers, again, in my experience, have been more reluctant to say, screw it, I've got to quit my job and find something in town so I can take my kids to school. So the first level are the trivial things. Know the facts, man. Rattle this stuff off, man. Practice it. Get good at it. Write it on your arm like you did in high school when you were cheating on a test. But the second level is really doing something to show the court, but more importantly, your children, that you're willing to make sacrifices to be the father that they deserve and that you know you can be. And that's how we're going to start building an effective winning strategy for fathers in a child custody case. When we're representing fathers who are standing up for their rights and standing up for their children in child custody cases, the thing that drives me up the wall, and this happens, I'm telling you guys, almost every time, is at some point, somebody is going to ask the father, or somebody is going to allege, Dad, you don't have any experience taking care of a 3-month-old baby. You don't have any experience taking care of a 2-week-old child. Guys, neither did mom before the first time she had a kid. What are we talking about? I mean, they wheel mom out of the hospital, God bless her, but they send you and that kid home after 2 or 3 days of being a parent, and they expect y'all to have it figured out. That's where mom started. So what, do we expect dad to go through some academy that mom didn't go through? Do we expect dad to have to work his way up and build up his visitation over time? We sent kiddo home with mom after 2 or 3 days in the hospital, and she has the kid 24/7. Hopefully the folks are still together at that point, but that's how much experience mom had. And we're going to come into court and we're going to talk about dad's never taken care of a 5-day-old baby. Neither had mom before she had her first one. So that drives me crazy. Be prepared for that, dads, in your child custody case. Call the other side out. Have your lawyer, whether it's Foxtrot or anybody else, take the other side to task if they ask a dumbass question like, well, how much experience does anybody have before they get wheeled out of that hospital and go home with that 2-3 day-old baby for the first time? Nobody. So dads, don't let the other side do that to you. You have all the experience you need. You're not going to kill this child, or at least you're not going to be any more irresponsible or inexperienced than mom was the first time she went home with a newborn baby either. That's bullshit. Don't let it happen in your case without taking the other side for a ride. So that's one thing that the fathers we represent have to look out for in their child custody case. If you've got any questions about what your rights are as a father, if you have any issues with what your child needs and what you can bring to the table, or what the court needs to know about from you as a father in your child custody case, holler at us at Foxtrot Family Law. We've got 3 offices all over North Alabama. We've got 6 lawyers on our team here ready to serve and support you and help you as a father stand up for yourself, stand up for your kids in your child custody case.